What's going on, guys? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. Hey, happy Saturday. Okay, today I'm here flying my desktop simulator. Check it out. I do have a desktop sim that I fly. I'm going to tell you exactly which one it is and why I use it. This is Prepare 3D with the FS Labs A320 and the Logitech joystick that I use. Many of you know I do actively fly the A320. And also, some of you know I'm actually on a leave right now amidst the COVID pandemic. I took a leave of absence and I go back to flying here in just about a month and a half, early next year in January, okay, right around my birthday time. So nonetheless, if you follow what I say all the time, I'm always an advocate for go through memory items, study your limitations, continue being sharp on your lights and switches, memory items, limitations, lights and switches. And then in addition to that, those of you actively flying the line, make sure you go through your flows. Make sure you go through your procedures, your callouts, your flows, your ECAM actions, this kind of thing. So to stay sharp, today I woke up this beautiful Saturday morning and I said, you know what, let me crank the sim up and let me do a quick flight Fort Lauderdale to Orlando so I can go through my call-outs, my flows, my procedures, and everything with you. And I already did the, we're cruising right now, right? So I already did the pushback engine start sequence, taxi to the active runway, did the takeoff and climb phase. We reached top of climb, we're cruising, and now I just prepared us to initiate this top of descent here shortly and begin our approach onto the standard terminal arrival route and finally onto the approach, which will be the ILS into 17 left coming into Orlando. So with that, I want to share with you exactly how I would brief this real world if I were out flying right now. This is literally what I'd be doing right now, how I would brief it. And the first thing I would do is transfer control. So I transfer control so that I can now A, get the weather, B, load the approach, and C, give a thorough briefing to my pilot monitoring who's so kindly flying with me, whomever that may be, right? So I've already loaded the approach. If you don't know how to load the approach, I do talk about this on our online course. It's the top hat, right? So I did the top hat sequence on the MCDU, and I went around the cane or the question mark. Those of you that fly the A320, you know what that means. It's basically going from the glare shield up to the overhead panel and then down through the center pedestal, making various configurations for the approach that include things like turning on LS buttons, considerations for jip whiz or anti-ice, and also things like considering the use of auto brakes, reversers, flaps, and then left or right exit off the runway. So I'm going to talk about that here and literally, as I said, give you a briefing just as I would if I was out flying the line right now. So with that, let's get to it. Here's the briefing. Here's how it goes. Again, I already checked the weather. I transferred control. I checked the weather. I already loaded the approach up. I did my top hat. I did my question marker cane, and here comes the approach briefing now. So, of course, I asked my pilot monitoring, or at this case, their pilot flying temporarily, right? You ready for a briefing? They acknowledge, and we say, great. Let's commence with this briefing. I'm going to start us off. We're going to do the Baron 4 RNAV arrival going into Orlando. We'll start it from 20,000 feet, which is our current cruise altitude. The chart is dated 13 December 19th, 20-2. You can see I've got my EFB here with me, okay? And so now I just go through the points. We'll start it from 20,000 feet. We're going to proceed direct to Baron. Expect to cross Baron at 8,000 feet. I go to the flight plan page on the McDo and I make sure I have 8,000 feet there, which I do. No speed restriction coming down. The remaining points have been verified, which happen to be Knobs, MickX, Ramaz, and Popeye, which I verify all on the flight plan page on the McDo that they're actually there. Once we get vectored off the arrival, okay, we're going to be expecting the ILS approach, runway 17 left. ILS 17 left, here it is, right? I put it up here. Chart is ILS or localizer runway 17 left into Orlando, Florida's airport. Charts 15th of May, 2020. 21-1 is the plate. Make sure we're both on the same page, right? Frequency 110.95, final approach course 185. And I want to mention, as I'm doing this, I'm actually verifying on the primary flight display that I have the frequency tuned, and also on the RadNav page on the McDo, I can see, let me just show you really quick, all right? Let me bring this up so I can show you this. See if I can flip this around. Okay, here's where I'm looking, right? I got 110.95, final approach course 185. Hopefully you can see that okay. So I'm just verifying as I go across the briefing strip of the jet plate, I'm verifying that it's actually what's loaded in the MCDU, right? Localizer 110.95, final approach course 185, crossing the glide slope at Cocos 1,500 feet. This is in the flight plan page. I just checked the flight plan page, 1,500 feet. Bottom altitude, this is the decision altitude. DA is 290, airport elevation 96, touchdowns elevation is 90, min safe altitude, all quadrants, 3,000 feet. In the event of a missed approach, I flip over to the flight plan page on the McDo so I can see my missed approach. The airport key on the McDo takes you straight to the approach, and you can scroll up from there to the missed approach, right? Climb to 500 feet, climbing left turn to 3,000 on heading 100. Outbound Orlando VR radio 140 to Presque. 16.2 dB of Orlando, and hold. And continue climbing the hold to 3,000 feet. So I just basically scroll through my flight plan page now, and I'm looking for exactly what I just read off, right? So climbing at 500 feet, left turn, Presque, intercept, left turn 100, intercept the 140 radial outbound, and we're going to hold at 5,000 feet. Perfect. And I can even check the hold here. Should be Presque, right turns. Looks like it'll be a parallel entry. All right. Profile view. Go to the profile view. We're crossing Sea-Doo 2500, Cocos 1500. Bottom altitude, as mentioned, is 290. Pappy on the left side. I also have 2 lights. Runway 17 left. I flip over to the taxi diagram. 9,000 feet long. It's going to be a right exit off. Okay. A dry runway, by the way. Questions, comments, concerns on that? Okay. None so far. I continue on with briefing the top hat and then the cane. So now we go here with the top hat. I literally go switch by switch on the flight plan page. Everything's been verified. RadNav, we've got hard-tuned the Orlando VOR with the missed approach in there. I like to hard-tune my stuff just in case I lose my my McDo, right, or FMS in the 7.3. But if I obviously here 320, if I lose the McDo on the go-around, I have it hard-tuned. Great. Prog page, I got distance off of Orlando 17 left, GPS primary, high accuracy, performance on the descent phase. I got managed speed all the way down. Page is all perfed up, and I got us with the bottom altitude 290. Fuel predict showing extra minute, 30 minutes of extra time. Secondary flight plan is a copy of the active, sent for the numbers. Now I go for the cane or the top hat. LS button on. No jip whiz consideration. This is literally going from the glare shield up towards the overhead panel, then back around the glare shield down through the main instrument panel through the center pedestal. So I'm going to say LS button on both sides, right? No jip whiz consideration, no anti-ice. Auto brakes low. I like to use typically auto brakes low or medium, depending upon obviously various factors, runway length, airport elevation, how heavy we are. This is a dry, long runway at a sea level airport, and we're light. So we're going to go with low brakes on this one. We're below max landing weight. I check our weight, all right? Make sure we're below max landing weight. Reverse full, config full. It's an A320. I'm moving down the pedestal now. A320 for tail strike awareness. I may say it's a 319 tail strike awareness or 321. Obviously 321 longer, more tail strike awareness goes into play there. It's a 321 for tail strike awareness. That's just to get me mentally in the game for how much pitch I know not to exceed on the flare. Runway, I go back to my taxi diagram. 17 left, as I said, it's a right turn off, probably Foxtrot, across the inboard, and then into our parking. Okay, so I'm explaining some things in full speed, though it would basically sound pretty close to what I just did, where I am. And by the way, notice this video is running 7 minutes and 45 seconds right now. The briefing doesn't need to take long. It's taken actually longer because I'm here explaining things to you, but I'm basically, if we were flying actively together and I wouldn't be explaining all these things, it would simply be a briefing in real time. It would take me no more than maybe 2 minutes long. Starting with, this is a star, it's a Baron 4, expect to cross Baron at 8,000, that's the bottom altitude, no speed restriction. After we get vectored off, ILS 17 left, frequency, okay, I'll run it for you full speed, frequency 110.95, final approach course 185. We're crossing Cocos at 1500, this cross checks with the McDo. DA is 290, airport elevation 96 feet. Min safe altitude 3,000 all quadrants. Missed approach, climb to 500, climbing left turn 3,000, heading 100. Verifying the McDo, this is what I have. We go to Presque, we hold, parallel entry, right turns, I check the hold. It's there. Okay, let's see, crossing Sea-Doo 2500, Cocos at 1500 at the flight plan page. Just make sure the altitudes line up. Bottom altitude 290 is mentioned. Pappy on the left side, I also have 2 lights. Runway 17 left landing, it's a right turn off. Foxtrot, cross the inboard into the parking area. On the top hat, go through the top hat. Flight plan page has been checked. RadNav, Orlando VR, hard tune for the missed approach, and we got a good ILS frequency and inbound course. Progress, 17 left, distance off of 17 left. GPS primary, high accuracy. Perf page on the descent phase. Okay, I left it all managed speed, didn't put anything there for the descent speed. Approach is all perfed up, bottom altitude set 290. Fuel predict 30 minutes extra time. Secondary is a copy of the active. I sent for the numbers, LS buttons both sides. No jip whiz consideration, no anti-ice, LS on my side. Auto brake slow, we're below max landing weight. Reverse full, config full. It's an A320 tail strike awareness, 17 left, right turn off. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints. Okay? I always end it with questions. You know, good CRM, open it up and see what we got as far as questions. I'm coming up on top of descent right now. So I'm going to go ahead and set 8,000, right? And I'm going to manage my descent down. So let's see, 8,000 blue, thrust idle, descent. Down we go. We hit the top of descent pretty spot on. So now we're going to go down, just, hopefully we cross it right around 8,000. That's the plan. We want to cross it at 8,000 feet. The constraint is showing magenta. All these things that I'm talking to you right now, I talk about in the A320 course. I talk about how to brief an approach the way I just did. I talk about the automation. I talk about the top hat, specifically what I'm looking for in the top hat. In the departure, right, the DIFSRIP acronym is what that's called. I talk about that as well. Then, of course, you have systems review. This is one of the things that I tell you guys. If you're not actively flying, and even if you are, you want to stay sharp. You don't want to be the pilot that crams 2 weeks prior to recurrent training. This is why, obviously, I run one-step prep, so year-round I'm doing training, right, both in the 7.3 and the A320, but even in lulls, in time where I'm not actively out flying, for example, like now, I'm going back in January, procedurally, I don't want to forget these things, right? So here we are coming up on the transition altitude, on the descent, the transition level, rather, on the descent, which conveniently happens to be 2992, right? So I say set 2992, 2992 set, passing 17.8, approach checklist. I just go through the procedures, man, over and over and over and over and over and over again, so that you stay sharp and you don't get dull, okay? I want to help you. I know our courses can help you. Maybe we do some in-person training, whether you can come to Miami or not. We do it virtually, but I certainly know that doing this and staying sharp is far better than not doing this and not staying sharp. And it'll help you to not be that crammer that's 2 weeks prior to recurrent and freaking out trying to get, everything stuffed in your head. It's a lot easier to just do this periodically. You don't even have to do this a lot. I mean, just do it every now and then, man. Like maybe every other week. Every other week, just dedicate 30 minutes to going through some stuff. Those of you that have, more discipline than that, then perfect, man. Great for you. Then do it on a weekly basis if you can. Just a little bit. Have breakfast in the morning, sip on some coffee, read some of our emails that we send out all the time, or just go through some of our video content we have online. That will suffice to put you in a level where you're far more confident come your initial, your recurrent, or your upgrade. All right? So Joe Munoz the name, Joe and Juan, the J&J team, you know the name, onestepprep.com. I'm descending on this arrival right now, so I'm going to cut the video. I'm going to land this airplane. I'm going to go through all my flows. I'm coming up pretty soon here on 10,000 feet, so I got a 10,000 foot flow. I'm going to do all my my call-outs, my procedures, my checklists. I got the whole thing here, and I highly advise you do the same. All right? Hope I can help you. OneStepPrep.com, Juan and Joe, keeping you in the know. I'll see you either in Miami or online in one of our courses.